everybody. You are looking live into Michael Scott's office, live from Dunder Mifflin Paper, or just my fun background for another edition of this week's Rush Report. We're going with different themes this week, just trying to win a fantasy football game. Nick, how are you this week?
Be better if I beat Dan last week.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
Football's stupid.
Well, I've pulled out all the luck charms for me this week, along with Michael Scott's office. Got my Dunder Mifflin, my world's best boss mug. Ready to take a stab.
Potentially.
And probably lose again.
That's where I'm at.
I know, but the one positive part of the year has been our pick segments.
Yeah.
And on the year, last week was a rough week. Not for me though. I went 8-4, solid week. And on the 3 that we differed on, you got them all wrong, bring you to 5-7.
It's the first time I'm under 500 all season though.
It is, except for like week 1, but put you 12 games back in the standings. So what can I say? I took a leap ahead this week.
Just a little bit.
So, should we just jump right into this week's?
Oh, how painful it will be.
I think I'm going to surprise you with this week's matchup of the week in the Bigs.
Can't be
Andy. Actually, both of them are a little bit of surprises. So, are you ready?
It has me worried now.
All right, this week's matchup of the week.
Dun dun dun.
Caleb and Darren.
Well, that's a special one.
I know. I didn't think you would see this one coming.
No.
But this is a fun. This matchup has a lot of fun in it. Just if you look at the numbers, I mean, Darren's going Justin Fields, which is Justin Fields a legit number 1 quarterback? Is he not? Daniel Jones against a bad Texans defense. It's going to be fun.
But he's not starting Kirk Cousins, so he should automatically lose. And he's not on bye.
He could. That's a good point. But the running backs are rough for Caleb, which we talk about that every single week. Melvin Gordon and Kareem Hunt. But Nick Chubb, Kenny Walker, and Jamal Williams for Darren. That's a solid play, but it comes down to pass catchers in this week's matchup of the week. Gabe Davis, does he bounce back, even with Case Keenum at quarterback? Tyreek Hill against the Browns, can the Browns keep up with him? And Christian Kirk, who has become a true number 1 fantasy wide receiver this year.
Yeah, I mean, the Gabe Davis thing's going to hurt him this week easily. The Vikings, they're not the world's best or worst defense. They're in the middle. But still a competent defense. Case Keenum, it's at home. It doesn't really, you're in a safety valve, so you're going to look for all the ones.
Another reason why this has become the matchup of the week is because these two are neck and neck in the standings. This is the matchup that probably has the most on the line as we push towards the playoffs this year. The lower bottom of the league, a.k.a. me and you now, we don't really have a chance at the playoffs, unfortunately.
Playoffs? You want to talk about playoffs?
Playoffs? I just want to win a game. Playoffs? But this matchup has a lot riding on it moving forward, with the winner of this week's matchup to really take off.
Yeah, I think this week, though, really is going to come down to your consistency in players.
Yeah. Do we trust Justin Fields?
I would against the Lions.
Yep, and I actually like Daniel Jones this week, too. I know that's a crazy thing to say all season.
It's not a bad one to trust, but I think Fields is a slightly better option for him.
Yep. The other reason why I don't know how I feel about CeeDee Lamb this week, he's probably going to get Jair Alexander on him, which could be good, could be bad. Which Packers team shows up, and if the Cowboys get up early, they're not going to be throwing the ball. They're going to run the ball, especially against a beat-up Packers defense.
Absolutely.
So, and Kenny Walker going up against the Bucs run defense, it is a good run defense.
I would agree.
So there's some matchup things here that are concerning. I mean, Nick Chubb's probably going to run all over the Dolphins, but I look for Kareem Hunt to actually get some extra touches in the red zone, like he has been.
No, that's a perfect comparison. I mean, you got Jamal Williams doing his thing against Swift and Kareem Hunt doing his thing. So
yeah,
they both have value.
I will give the edge to Dallas Goedert here over Pat Freiermuth. Which Steelers offense shows up after the bye week? I don't have much confidence in the Steelers offense, and the Commanders defense. It's nothing special. It's nothing great, and it's a Monday night game. Philly's offense is legit. We've seen Dallas Goedert. I mean, he put up a big week last week.
Absolutely.
So when it comes down to it, I like Darren in this matchup. There's more
consistent play.
There's more consistent players, and I like the risk of Justin Fields against the Lions defense. But Caleb all season has been surprising us.
He's been a surprising team, but this is a Darren week.
All right, Caleb. Prove us wrong once again. All right. Up next is not what in the world's going on. There we go. Technology at its finest. It's either the operator or the technology. You be the judge there. It's my matchup with Craig. I do have my concession text ready to go. I may or may not have already sent that as of this taping, but you never know. I don't know if there's any path to victory for me or not. Trevor Lawrence.
Nope.
Yeah,
there isn't.
Trevor Lawrence against the Chiefs. I don't think that trade's going to work out for me in the long run. Maybe I should have kept Garrett Wilson. Tua against the Browns. The Browns' defense is better this year, but Tua has been a top 5 quarterback all year when he's playing, and the Dolphins haven't lost a game in a game that he started and finished.
Very true.
So it's impressive to see that. Now at running back, Dalvin Cook against the Bills. Staunch run defense. Don't like Dalvin Cook's matchup, or Najee Harris is against the Saints. It's pitter-patter. It's depressing, and there's talks that Najee Harris is going to start losing touches to Jaylen Warren this week.
Which is going to hurt your value.
Yep. On Craig's side, though, Christian McCaffrey, David Montgomery.
Montgomery's losing a little bit of touch, but he's still solid.
Yep. And McCaffrey against that San Francisco offense, he's been something special this year. I know it's only been 2 games, but Kyle Shanahan knows how to use gadget players, and McCaffrey is the ultimate Swiss Army knife gadget player. Last time we saw him, he threw a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and rushed for a touchdown.
True.
So, moving on, pass catchers, Amari Cooper, he's going to get covered by Xavier Howard this week. So there's some questions there. Terry McLaurin's going to get the Darius Slay treatment, and George Pickens. Who knows what's going to go on there? Then on Craig's side, Ayuk, Evans, Olave. I like the Olave move this week. He's played himself into being a top fantasy receiver this year, and putting him at a flex is a great position to use for your flex, especially without Mike Thomas now for the rest of the year.
Very true. I don't really have anything much to add with that because I've been impressed with Olave all season. Yeah, very consistent play. I think he might have a better path to points than, let's say, Ayuk and Mike Evans.
Yep. As far as Kyle Pitts goes, I think the Falcons team as a whole is now saying this is the Pitts because they don't know how to use him. We keep on seeing that time and time again. And George Kittle is starting to get confidence back in that injured hamstring that he's dealt with most of the season. And he's starting to look like George Kittle of old. And we know the Chargers can give up big plays, and their red zone defense is not as great as what we thought it was going to be going into the season.
Yeah, I mean, everything's progressing well for Kittle, and then the Kyle Pitts thing, it's a little frustrating to see because he's got immense talent.
Yep. So I'll let you go ahead and pick this. Maybe you'll blow my socks off. Maybe you won't.
I'm going to pick Craig.
I would agree with you 110%. I don't see a path to victory from you this week, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to try.
No.
All right. Coming up next, we have Steph against Dan. This matchup, this easily, if you look at the numbers, could have been another matchup of the this week could have been the matchup of the week, but I'm not quite sure it's going to be as close as what MFL says it's going to be.
It's a matter of just trying to find points for both sides at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if Andy Dalton's going to have 15 points. TJ Watt is playing on Sunday, so that's a big deal for the Steelers defense. I'm not going to say that's going to change that game, but Dalton's going to get sacked if TJ Watt's playing.
Oh, absolutely.
And on the other side,
Geno
Smith. I struggle playing guys who play overseas, just because it does something with their routine, and you just see it when you're watching those games.
Yeah, so he'll be interesting to watch. I mean, it's anybody's guess how he'll do.
Yep. At running back, Fournette, Seahawks run defense, it's not good. It's not great, but it's definitely what's the word? Serviceable.
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Henry against the Broncos, I look for Derrick Henry to run all over, and Caleb Huntley is Caleb Huntley. He's nothing special. Now, granted, we are doing this on Friday this week, so we do have a little bit of the hindsight being 2020. Huntley really wasn't involved in last night's game. He had a few nice runs, but nothing spectacular, and it was kind of a wash of a game in more than one sense.
But then you look at Antonio Gibson. I mean, he's still getting good usage, being the number 2.
Yep, and Raheem Mostert's going to lose his job again to Jeff Wilson.
From one coast to the other coast.
Yep. As far as pass catchers go, I will say Steph's going all Vegas. It's a risky move.
I mean, Matt Collins is the slot guy this week.
Matt Collins is going to get looks. Devontae is going to get looks. Now Devontae is going to get Stephon Gilmore treatment this week from Jeff Saturday's team. Boom.
Boom.
And Matt Collins is going to be in the slot. That does concern me a little bit. But on Dan's side, Wan'Dale Robinson is a nice player. He seems to be the guy that Daniel Jones goes with. So
he hasn't done anything spectacular.
But he's been consistent. He's been right around that 9-10 point mark every week. Allen Robinson, apparently he remembers how to play football, just forgets how to catch a ball.
I mean, Josh Palmer, he's filling in again for what? Keenan Allen, who is Keenan Allen.
Yep. So, tight end, Travis Kelce, by far. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kelce double Zach Ertz's production this week, just based on matchups.
Yeah, I mean, so who are you thinking with this one, though?
I do like Dan with this matchup. I know MFL says Dan is losing, but there's more I trust Travis Kelce when it comes down to it. I look at the lineup, and with the way Geno Smith has been playing, Geno Smith hasn't been losing games. He hasn't been forcing it, and that goes a long way, especially in a league that you get counted against when the quarterback gets sacked.
I'm gonna go with Steph. Changing it up here, I think Devontae might get something. I mean, again, he's going to get nice tight coverage. Giants against the Texans could be something special, and then Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see Steph win, but it's good to be different. And you're not bitter at all from last week.
I'll be bitter rest of the season.
Up next, we've got Christie's matchup with Jeffrey. This is another one based on seedings and stuff. This could have been the matchup of the week. This week's kind of the week of a big matchup.
Boom.
But Christie is hurting a little bit because of the questionable status of Josh Allen. It being Friday and not knowing if he's going to play does raise huge concerns, but she did pick up Russell Wilson this week, who I know Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson. He's nothing spectacular this year. But if you have to have a backup quarterback, Russell Wilson's not terrible. You could do a far worse in a 14-team league.
Let Russ cook.
Yeah, sure. Maybe. Now,
I mean, running back is where it really gets into it, I think, here.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards, Cordell, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
Austin
Patterson didn't
Eckler.
have a great game last night.
Deontay Foreman did have a good game.
And Deontay Foreman had a fantastic game, looking like a number one back. So Christie's in the hole a little bit already on after a Thursday night. But look for Jonathan Taylor, and I've been saying this all year. But he's practiced all week. New head coach in Jeff Saturday, and I think they're going to run the ball all over the Raiders. ETN did it last week. Jonathan Taylor is going to have a huge week this week.
If you think so.
And now that I said that, he's probably going to get injured on the first drive.
What about Dameon Pierce? Do we know anything about his injury?
Last status that I saw today, he did participate in practice today. It looks like he will be available to play come Sunday. So my sources of Adam Schefter via Sleeper app on my phone show me that Dameon Pierce is most likely going to start. But if he's not, I look for A.J. Dillon to actually be comparable to Dameon Pierce this week with the injury to Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I mean, and then wide receivers. You mean you could initially say, hey, they kind of cancel each other's out, but St. Brown's production has not been there the last few weeks.
Yeah,
and DK is DK, but it's gonna be Hopkins and Devontae.
Yeah, Hopkins is going to get a lot of Jalen Ramsey this week, which we know how that usually goes. DeAndre Hopkins usually wins that matchup, and watching that Bucs-Rams game last week, I don't see Jalen Ramsey being the shutdown corner that he's always been. And then Devontae Smith, it's hit or miss in that offense. Last week he really didn't do anything. So is this the week that he actually does bounce back? It's a Monday night game. So we'll see what happens.
It's an easier game.
Yep. As far as tight ends go, Gesicki he's a safe play, but he's a high risk, high reward. If this makes any sense at all, if you played fantasy football for long enough, you'll understand this. Mike Gesicki is a safe, high risk, high reward. He's not going to have a 0, but his floor is about 3.5 points.
That's fair.
Because of the way the offense is built. And Cade Otton, he got the game-winning touchdown last week. Does that translate?
Well, Cameron Brate's coming back this week, so that's going to be the real question.
Yep. So Christie maybe caught a break there just because of no Mark Andrews being on a bye. So Does Christie have enough to beat Jeffrey this week?
Looking at this right now, the Josh Allen thing was very the biggest worrisome thing here. I don't trust Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So with that said, Jeffrey should win this week.
I agree. I don't want Jeffrey's head to get too big, but
he doesn't listen to us anyways.
You're right. He doesn't. His team is better at key positions. Just higher profile players that are not injured. I think that sums it up. So I think it's Jeffrey's matchup to lose this week.
I agree.
All right. Up next, Dave. Dave, thank you for always keeping us on our toes with your team names. Love it.
Better lucky
Dave
than
and
good.
Adam. Dave and Adam. This one is a big matchup because it's at the top of the league. Dave eked out a 2-point win last week, and Adam has been consistently great all year. So this has the makings of maybe Dave really is lucky, more lucky than he is good, because if Sam Ehlinger goes off this week, I think we know Dave is
lucky,
the GOAT of luck.
Yeah, I mean his quarterback plays an issue. He's starting what he's got to start for running back, but Sanders being Sanders, I mean that's the only thing got going for him. Just 3 tough running backs to beat.
Yeah, I mean Saquon, Zeke, Kamara, and even if Zeke's not available, I like Rachaad White in that Bucs offense. I know it's nothing great, but 7 points seems just about right. And Zeke this year, he's touchdown dependent at this point in his career. So I like the Rachaad White play if that needs to be.
Yeah, I get it.
You know, I think Alvin Kamara runs all over the Steelers this week. Saquon Barkley runs all over the Texans. Those are two bad defenses. So, but on the other end, Miles Sanders the Commanders looks like they're going to get Chase Young back this week, and I think that does make that defense in Washington more, I don't want to say dangerous or scary, but gives them a little bit more beef on that defensive line. Where Dave's saving grace is, though, is the three-headed monster at wide receiver. A.J. Brown, Cooper Kupp, and D.J. Moore. Granted, D.J. Moore didn't do tons last night, but he's a hit or miss. But A.J. Brown and Cooper Kupp, those are the two guys that you really need.
Yeah, I don't trust Chris Godwin.
I don't trust Godwin. I do like Jalen Waddle this week. He's an underrated play this week against the Browns secondary. He's not going to get Denzel Ward this week covering him. So I do like the Jalen Waddle play. His matchup there does look good. And as we saw last week, Noah Fant remembered how to play football.
For once this season.
So maybe the Seahawks have turned the corner and are starting to trust Noah Fant, getting him the ball. But Dalton Schultz will always be Dak Prescott's safety valve, and that's a nice little tight end to have at that point right there.
Very.
So, looking at it, does Adam continue his dominance in the league, or is Dave really that lucky?
It's luck for Dave, but no, he's going to run out of luck this week.
The luck stops here this week, and I would agree with you. It's Adam's matchup to lose. All right. Now this matchup is at the other end of the league, at the bottom end of the league. Brian's matchup with Chad, and there's a lot of red on Chad's lineup.
Yeah, and there's not really anything to fulfill side red.
Yeah, Kyler Murray's been dealing with injuries all week. He's playing. I think they're just being cautious with him. They didn't want him to probably miss out on his Call of Duty night, so they wanted to list him as questionable.
I can't.
And on the other end, Tom Brady, with a long flight, did his knees get a little locked up during that long flight, or did he do high knees on the flight?
I guarantee you, he's got like a special spot on that plane.
He probably had avocado knee pads, so that way he didn't, the arthritis didn't set in.
Yeah. He's just fine.
Oh man. But
avocado knee pads. Who knew that avocados had healing powers?
Oh man. I don't know what's worse, the avocado knee pad joke or Chad starting running backs this week.
Chad starting running backs.
J.D. McKissick, he's the number 3 back in Washington, and I think Singletary starts to lose some touches this week.
Cook is looking better.
Nyheim Hines is going to get involved in the game plan this week, so I think Singletary lose some of his touches, even if it's a Case Keenum game.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end, I don't like James Conner or Josh Jacobs matchups this week.
No.
The Rams' run defense, if you run the ball right, you can run on the Rams, but I don't trust Cliff Kingsbury to run the ball right, and the Colts' run defense hasn't been the issue all year. Actually, the Colts' defense hasn't been the issue; it's been the offense. The defense has kept the Colts in the game. I don't like the matchup of Josh Jacobs against the Colts this week.
It's fair. Josh Jacobs has been very solid all season, so we'll see. Maybe he can push through.
Yep. As far as wide receivers go, I don't know if
he's starting Deontay Johnson.
Deontay
Johnson might be a saving grace. He might be able to start the other ex wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's great. Chase Claypool, bye. See ya. He's fine. Don't worry. He's a top 3 wide receiver now that he's in Chicago. Just ask him. His Twitter says so. I don't know if Brandon Cooks plays this week. Brandon Cooks is looking like he's going to take the Le'Veon Bell route because he didn't get his way and get traded at the trade deadline. So there's questions there if he actually plays this week. Stephon Diggs, even if Case Keenum's quarterback, Stephon Diggs and Case Keenum always have had something special. Maybe some might call it miraculous. No pun intended, Saints fans. But then Deontay Johnson. I don't like the play of Deontay Johnson this week. In fact, I don't know if I like Deontay Johnson the rest of the year. I don't know if Kenny Pickett's the guy. I just don't know. Maybe I'm
Kenny Pickett
surprised.
Kenny Pickett or Jordan Love?
Bryce Young, is that an option?
For you guys, perhaps.
But on the other end, Debo's coming back this week. Should be healthy. Thielen against the Bills, that doesn't move the needle. And McCole Hardman just had the game of his life last week. Trust me, I know. Thank you very much. I'm not bitter. I thought I had a win going into Sunday Night Football. But McCole Hardman is questionable, missed 3 straight days of practice. So his availability is really in question going into Sunday's game. So you look at it comes down to Isaiah McKenzie.
Better option. But still, Case Keenum, that's a little terrifying.
Yep. So I feel like 100 is too much for Brian this week.
70 too much for either team.
I would say 80's too much just because of the Debo Samuel's effect. Because Debo could have 30 points on his own.
Fair.
So this is one of those matchups. It seems like it's the first one to 65 wins.
With that being said, I think Brian has the slight edge.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's any. Too bad we can't play kickers as our flexes, or put a kicker at running back.
There's just no hope, right? Yeah.
Yep.
He's got no running back, and that's the biggest issue.
Yep. And Chad, this is two guys who are in the same boat you are, so we understand pain.
Bro, my team's terrible.
So, yeah.
It's
okay.
And
that brings us to our last matchup in the bigs.
The bottom.
Your matchup with Jeremy.
Yeah.
You made the big move this week, moving Davante Adams for DeAndre Swift. It's a risky move. Very, very risky.
I went through all the lineups, and there was nothing that I was going to get from anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, kudos to you for being able to make a trade in this league. The two guys with the Rush Report are the two that have made big trades this year. We haven't seen any other trades. I believe next week's the trade deadline, if I'm not mistaken. So there's time for moves to be made. But are we going to see any more moves? But we're not here to talk about trade deadline. We're here to talk about your matchup with Jeremy.
Question: is there a path to victory?
Is there a path?
Problem is, if Aaron Jones isn't playing, he could start Jeff Wilson.
Yep. Jeff Wilson is a nice play. Even Khalil Herbert's a nice play.
Mm-hmm.
So, that doesn't help you.
Nope.
I don't like Herbert's matchup with the 49ers. The 49ers defense is one of the best defenses in the league this year. So I feel like 18 points might be a little bit too much for Herbert, who's been inconsistent this year. So maybe that's something that brings stuff back down. But Justin Jefferson against the Bills, and Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett, he's either big game or no game. And then Juju, if McCole Hardman's out, Juju's value goes up.
Very true.
As far as Jerry Jeudy and Curtis Samuel, you could do worse, but you could also do better.
Yeah.
Because you had Davante Adams. You could have done better.
I'd still be in the same boat.
You still would be. As far as ETN and Brian Robinson goes, both of those teams play. I mean, ETN, he's not Derrick Henry, so I don't look for him to have the game like Derrick Henry had. But ETN's his matchup is favorable this week against a not great run defense. Brian Robinson, that Eagles defense with Jordan Davis is really good up front, stopping the run. And they're going to be passing the ball a lot.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, maybe Brian Robinson will get some pass catches.
Yep. And then DeAndre Swift, if he's healthy, we'll see what happens.
He said he got cleared today, so.
Yep. So Hawkinson against the Bills, that's see if he's starting to get more accustomed to that offense. I felt like last week they kind of force-fed him the ball a few times just to try to get him used to the offense. But that does bode well for him moving forward. And take some targets away from Justin Jefferson.
That works with me.
It might only be 2 targets, but still, that's targets taken away from him. So is there a path for Nick to beat Jeremy this week?
No.
Oh, picking against yourself.
Oh.
I would say I would pick you, but I can't. It's Jeremy's matchup to win this week.
Yeah, I could use a win. It'd be really nice. I don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, well, these are just Kenny Pickett.
Well, little factoid for everybody while we get ready for the Wii League. How many Green Bay Packer wins this year since October versus the amount of wins that the Milwaukee Brewers had?
Brewers had more wins in October.
Brewers had 2 wins in October. Packers have had 1. Yeah. So anyways, on to the Wii League.
Yeah, that's bad. This week's Wii League matchup. Looking at the numbers, looking at standings, this matchup was fun to put as the matchup of the week. I know Josh Allen's involved with it, so there's some questionable playing, but I trust Matt to make the right moves moving into Sunday. And we have Matt and Shane's matchup in the Wii League this week for our matchup of the week, our game of the week in the Wii League.
Interesting matchup.
It really is. There's some fun parts with this matchup.
What are you looking at so far?
I mean, Antonio Gibson does have value because of catching the ball out of the backfield against the Eagles, but we did talk about that in the bigs. I'm trying to see if there's something that we really didn't touch on. The only thing in this matchup that I could see is if Shane hasn't done it yet, I think he puts Jonathan Taylor in over Antonio Gibson.
It would make more sense.
Yep. And so this is a matchup too. We go back to what we started off talking about. Do we trust Justin Fields to be a number 1 quarterback in the league, or has it just been a 3-week flash in the pan?
Against the Lions, we'll find out.
Yep.
In a league where the professional football players are, who are you going to pick?
I think this is Shane's matchup to win. I think with Justin Fields, if he is a true quarterback and winner like we've seen, and Jonathan Taylor's healthy, I don't see how Shane loses this matchup.
I would agree.
You're just trying to copy me so that way you get more.
No.
You get more wins.
I would have picked myself, but my team is trash.
I would have picked myself, but my team's trash. So
Shane stands the best chance of winning this week.
I agree. All right. Up
In
next,
the league
we've got
where they pay for play.
Up next, we've got Mark Friedman's against Mark Nelson. The battle of the Marks.
Dun dun dun.
Yep. So Kyler against Justin Herbert. We've touched on that. Is there really anybody that we haven't? Oh, Taysom Hill and Alan Lazard. Do those guys turn the needle for you this week? Seems like they have been. Alan Lazard had a touchdown last week.
No wide receiver in the Packers offense moves the needle.
True. That's talking about in the NFL, but we're talking fantasy here. Alan Lazard's getting the looks.
He is the closest one, yes.
You know, and Taysom Hill, it's crazy the stat that you see when Taysom Hill's involved in the offense, it almost doubles the chances that the Saints are going to score. Every drive. I don't understand it. I don't think we've seen a player that is that what's the word? I don't even know what the word is. That crucial to an offense that's not quarterback related. Is that the right way to put it?
But he can play every position though.
Yeah. So what does concern me, Chris Boswell's still in this matchup, in this lineup. He headed to IR last week, so he's ineligible. Justin Tucker's on bye, so that needs to get fixed. I I trust that these guys will get it squared away and get it taken care of.
These two generally do.
Yep. So looking at that, is it a Mark or a Mark win?
Well, one way or another, Mark will win.
Mark will win this matchup. Which one?
Mark. Is it Freeman Murray up offense?
Yes.
Gonna go with him.
I'm gonna go with Mark Nelson this week.
Of course you are.
To switch it up, but also Deontay Foreman's night does play a role in it. I'm gonna take that, but I probably would have taken that anyway, just because he had such a great game the first time against the Falcons too. So Cooper Kupp, I look for Cooper Kupp to have a big game, and I think there's enough points there. Get the right kicker in, and the Chiefs' defense is. I think the Chiefs' defense feast on Trevor Lawrence this week. So I'm going to take Mark Nelson.
Fair.
All right. Next, we've got Brandon against Daniel. And this is another close one based on MFL's projections.
I think the real closeness is the devil in details.
Yeah. We didn't talk about Kirk Cousins. Does Kirk Cousins, it's a 1:00 game, but is Kirk Cousins really ready for this big of a game? I mean, this is one of those matchups that
I think momentum will be on his side with Case Keenum playing.
I would agree with that, but to go into Buffalo doesn't lose at home. They're only losing on the road this year. Losing in Miami, losing in New York.
Against the Jets.
The 6-2 Jets.
I know they're a better Jets team than normal, but
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting matchup this week.
I mean, it's the Kirk Cousins play and then the Aaron Jones question.
Yep.
Not in love with Darrell Henderson.
Yeah, I don't love Darrell Henderson. Cordero Patterson didn't have a great night last night. 5.5 points. So that actually surprised me. I thought he would have a much better night last night.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at it, marinating over it.
Yeah, I do give the edge to Zach Ertz over Pat Freiermuth for tight end.
Mm-hmm.
If that helps.
I don't like McCauley Hardman.
I agree with that.
The slight edge is going to go to Daniel.
Slight edge to Daniel? You know what? If McCall Hardman's out, the play of Dawson Knox is interesting because tight ends are always quarterback safety valves. And I think you put
Fair.
Dawson Knox in for McCall Hardman. So I'm going to take Brandon this week. To be different, but also to answer the questions of the injuries, I think you have a more definitive answer with Brandon's team than what you do with Daniel's. Because Kyron Williams is back this week, and Aaron Jones, while he looks like he's going to be playing, there's questions there in Green Bay. A lot of questions. They're going up against the top defense in the NFL. So I'll take Brandon this week. All right. The following matchup is brought to you by Sleepy Joe Burrow. and Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is not my name too. Obviously, Micah might have to pivot with Matthew Stafford. We know he's always setting lineups and getting it done in time, but to have Stafford as your quarterback going in concussion protocol right now, there's concerns there with that.
There is. Besides the quarterback, is that his only concern?
In all reality, it is. Even though Connor is playing against the Rams, at least he's got Latavius Murray he could put in. But Eckler, Raheem Mostert could do worse. Trust me, I know. I understand the play of Tyler Lockett. I don't know if I would do that. Probably would go with Darnell Mooney over Tyler Lockett, but he's a Seahawks fan, so there's a little bit of a homer pick there.
I mean, he could be right at the hot hand with Darnell Mooney. I think it could be fair if he did that.
Yep. So, on the other end, Michael Pittman. Does Michael Pittman's value go up with the hiring of Jeff Saturday?
Could.
Or does it plummet?
Depends on if they do a dynamic shift in the offense.
Yeah. I don't know what to think. I would tend to say that his what's the word? Value goes down. Sorry guys, it's Friday night. It's been a long week. Michael Pittman's value goes down because I think a philosophy change is going to happen in the offense because Jeff Saturday, being the offensive lineman, is going to run the ball more.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it actually plays out.
Yeah. So, Sam doesn't have a full lineup submitted. Doesn't have a defense in it. Micah has a lineup with quarterback missing. Who is it that you like this week?
Micah's team. By a little.
You know, looking at it, I think you're right. Tight end concerns me. But Logan Thomas is finally healthy, and maybe that makes a difference with Taylor Heineke at quarterback. I think you're right there. I trust the lineup that Micah does have put out. And last but certainly not least, Nate, who took his first loss last week in the league against Owen, who desperately needs a win. Desperately.
Will come this week against his father in the other part of the house.
Will he or won't he beat his father this week?
Quarterback, he's got the quarterback edge.
He does have quarterback edge, but I think that's really the only edge that he's got.
Yeah. It's about, yeah. It's not even in the defense.
Yeah. Yep.
It's okay, Owen. It's always next year.
There is always next year. I would agree with you. I think this is Nate's matchup to lose. There's too many questions with Owen's running backs. Najee Harris is not the guy that we thought he was going to be, except Tony Pollard is better than what we thought he would be. So maybe that evens it out.
No.
And David Montgomery is who we thought he was. We let him off the hook.
That's
Man,
good.
we're going all out tonight with press conferences. First Jim Moore, then Denny Green. Anybody else?
You play to win the game.
I was
Period.
going there myself. You play to win the game.
We talk
Just
about
remember.
practice.
And this week, Lincoln is on bye.
Lincoln is practicing against the bye team this week.
Yep. So, remember, in fantasy, winning isn't everything. It's the only thing.
That's all that matters.
That's not. that's not right either. So here we are. Here we are at the end of another Rush Report. Anything stick out to you as we finish up this week?
Well, I'm going to don my cheesehead because I'm going to take the L this week against Jeremy, just like the Packers are going to take an L this week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, Steeler football is back this week. Don't know if I should be excited or scared for my life with that. Football just has not been nice. I was talking with somebody this week, and the NFL just hasn't been fun this year. It seems like there's just the top teams are amazing and the bottom teams are really bad, and maybe that's every year, but it just seems like this year football is not the same, and
it's the massive parity.
I don't know I don't know if it's something that is just me or if other people are feeling this way.
No, there's a lot of parity this year, and everybody likes parity, but I think it's a little too much.
Yeah. So, that brings us to the end of another Rush Report. We're coming up. We're over the halfway mark. Feel free to reach out to either one of us if you want to be involved with the Rush Report. We'd love to get you on board if it's something that you want to do.
Sounds like a plan.
Yep. So for everything that we do, Nick, thank you for editing and making it look amazing and taking it to the next level.
So pretty. So pretty.
That's all. That's all, folks.